What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again with another Operation Trebuchet news update. So this week, guys, we got plenty to talk about still, despite all the stuff we talked about last time. But let's go ahead, let's jump right into it. First up, we have Jedi Nick showing off his sweet new stanchion rifle in-game. So we've been seeing this thing for a while, but here we get to see Jedi with his custom armor holding the gun, and it looks pretty awesome. Unfortunately, we still don't really know how this is going to stack up as a weapon. I think they're still working on, configs, trying to figure out damage models, all that stuff. So we'll have to wait and see for a little bit more details on that, but it should stack up to be pretty awesome. Next up, we've got Jedi Nick, once again, is also working on some custom Halo-style suppressors. The suppressors are fairly basic, but they say Miss Raya Armory on there, and it shows they were manufactured on Mars. So pretty cool. I'm sure that's going to be a welcome addition to a lot of rifles and stuff, so that should be pretty cool. The M7, that is a really big one. A lot of you guys have been waiting on for news or anything. The dev team did decide to move forward with Forky's SMG, and in fact, it is already in-game. I don't know how functional in-game it is, but it is in-game. Looking at his version, obviously it's got some differences from the previous version, including a new red dot scope. The laser sight is a little bit angled on the suppressor, and I think that's a custom suppressor too. I think that's a new one, so pretty sweet looking. I guess this was designed as like a school project or something for Forky, and he decided to convert it over to Optray, so that looks really awesome. Really excited for that new SMG. Beyond that, what else do we got here, guys? We got quite a few things I gotta cover. My stuff's all scattered all over because of the way it's been getting announced. We've got the dog's continued work on the Drake class Corvette, and pretty cool stuff, mainly working on the hallways right now, so he's got a lot of different tests for textures and different hallways and stuff. I think he's mostly got it nailed down, maybe some other work, but it looks like for the big stuff, the general look he wants to go with, he's going to stick with this look. So that's pretty cool. We get to see a little bit of in-game functionality, although he says this is not the final look of these hallways in-game. Basically just showing off for scale with, a Marine hiding behind a door and walking down the hallway to give you a better idea of the scale of them. We've got some work from Bacon Shelf. Actually, before I talk about Bacon Shelf stuff, I did almost forget. I also forgot to post last week some pictures of the bridge of the Drake class. These are much earlier blockout phase, so these are, of course, just like T-pose models for scale. But it gives you a much better idea of what the bridge actually looks like on the ship, so pretty cool stuff. We can see, of course, they've got the hollow table mocked up there. You've got your captain seat as well as 4 seats in the front, which I'm assuming will eventually have consoles, as well as 2 on the side. Yeah, pretty cool stuff, though. Okay, now we can talk about Bacon Shelf stuff. So he has continued work on the Scythe, which is pretty neat. It's pretty much, I think, completely done at this point. He has also started work on the Lance, which is the sister turret, I guess you could call it, to the Scythe. It's in his case, a 6-barreled rocket pod that I'm not actually sure what role this plays. I'm guessing probably like anti-vehicles, what it's designed for. Pretty cool looking. It's already come along pretty far ways. He's just trying to nail down materials for the siding and stuff like that, and I guess it'll have to be put in game still. I'm not sure if the Scythe is in game at all yet. I can't remember if we've seen it in game or not. I don't have any pictures of it in here, so now I can't remember. Anyways, pretty cool stuff with that. Those are going to be cool, and I'm sure very popular defensive or static weapons once they're placed in game. Let's see here. Let me just double check. I do have a couple things to talk about with the UNSC still. So I do want to put up a disclaimer, guys. The next stuff you're about to see, the developer who is working on this has kind of gone missing in action. Some of this is stuff I've already talked about, but I found some new images while doing some digging that to show off to you guys. Just bear in mind that since the developer who's making these is gone. We may never see this stuff in-game, it's hard to say. But this stuff was developed by Indoor Bradster, and we've got some new shots of some of the buildings he was developing. Now, I don't think I've shown any of these on the channel. Now, it's been a while since we have shown his stuff off, so some of this may have been shown off, but I feel like these are new screenshots. If they aren't, I do apologize, guys. But, yeah, we've got an interior building. Looks like it's based off of ODST. You've got that wood paneling with, like, the rubber gripped looking floor type of deal. You know, the chic stainless steel all over the place. And then we've got one that's a similar design, probably the same building from a different angle with a staircase that looks like it's at least a 3-story building, so that's really cool. I've got some exterior shots here. We've got a large building which looks like it's made out of the kind of multiple pieces that he's trying to design this with. So you've got like the awning and looks like maybe a helipad or something at the top. It's hard to say. But that was one of the things, and I've kind of talked about this before, that the dev team wanted to do with their new buildings, is they wanted to make them more modular so that they and other map makers and even mission makers could just basically throw together a bunch of buildings and make it look like a cityscape that's really varied pretty easily. So we've got, you know, like I said, you've got the independent awning here for that, just propped up against a wall. I'm assuming that these will be independent pieces. Unfortunately, like I said, Bradster is apparently missing in action, kind of, from what people have been talking. I haven't tried to reach out to him myself, so it's hard to say. Anyways, yeah, we got a smaller structure with some vents and stuff, a couple doors in it. And then we've got a part of the structure. We've got, like, the right side of that last structure kind of cut off into a corner with some additional block pieces and like a railing top or something over off onto the side. So that's pretty neat. He was also redoing the farmhouse. If you guys didn't know, he was adding interiors to the farmhouse as well as updating the textures and stuff to it. We showed off a lot of pictures of that one, but I do believe these are new pictures as well. Here we see the farmhouse from like the entrance on the one side, and he was working on a few versions of it, but this one has like 2 sliding doors immediately on each side of the picture, and then one in the back. Gorgeous looking outside. Looks very much like the game. It's, of course, always hard to tell from the screenshots how this will actually turn out in-game. Especially, like, you know, once we start playing on, like, other people's computers and stuff. But it looks really good. We've got an interior shot as well with a number of windows that kind of wrap around, as well as it looks like a second set of sliding doors, which appears to be closed. Now, I'm assuming that these are going to be animated and everything if they do get completed, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, so that is everything for the UNSC for the main mod. Now, let's get into First Contact. So I've been shown a lot of stuff for First Contact, and I've seen a couple alternate shots of some of the stuff they revealed, but I'm not allowed to talk about a lot of what I've seen. Let's talk about what we have seen and what I'm allowed to talk about. So right off, we've got this first picture here. We've got a new elite standing out there. These are work in progress, but this guy is pretty cool. Looks like the blue is a little bit different, but I suspect that's just the lighting. It could be purple too. I'm not sure. I know Drake Darren kind of likes his purples. It looks purple, but I feel like that's just the way the lighting's reflecting off the Elite. What we do notice about the Elite is that the model has had a number of improvements over the current version. Some of the biggest changes are actually on the skin of the Elite itself, which is getting an overhaul. I'm assuming these are still work in progress, but he's kind of got a lot more detail in the skin. You know, the skin looks like it's broken up. The eyes have been redone, so it's a lot more detailed than the current Elite that they have out. They've also got some barriers and stuff up, but those are, of course, already in-game, so nothing too exciting there. Then we've got another Elite, which is pictured from the back, which is, of course, the updated Elite model again, and he is holding the beam rifle. Not much to take away from this. Once again, same barriers. We can't really see the beam rifle in detail or the front of the Elite, so, you know, it is what it is. Once again, this guy does look more purple than blue, especially when compared to the next screenshot I'm looking at, where the Elites are definitely blue, so those guys might be purple. I'm not positive, but it very much looks that way. And once again, it could be lighting. We'll have to wait and see. This picture, you know, we've got the Red Elite in the background, so it looks like he's got like a slightly updated texture. We've got another shot of the blue ones with their updated models and stuff, updated textures. Pretty neat. Not much else to take away from this. They don't have any new weapons. It's the same barrier, so nothing too exciting beyond that from what we've already seen. Let's see here. We had more pictures. Oh, I skipped over one. That's why. We do have another picture, too, in which we've got a big Covenant structure. It's like a blue stripe going through it, and it kind of wraps around. And then you see it further in the back. Now, these are going to be Covenant walls. I don't know exactly how these are going to work, but these are Covenant walls that will be placed down, so like their own version of military walls. Pretty neat stuff, to be sure. Beyond that, you know, I have seen an alternate picture of these from like above. I'm not allowed to share it. I've been told not to share it. It looks pretty neat, but there is something else in that picture that I cannot talk about. So that will be released later on, or announced later on, so that's going to be pretty cool. So we do have a couple more Covenant pictures a little bit further up. We have the Dragur, I hope I pronounced that correctly, turret again. We showed this off last week as a model. This is in-game, shooting at a downed Pelican. So you guys get a better idea. The shadow looks like it's set up properly. Firing in-game, so obviously this thing is working. It's using the bigger plasma bolts. It's kind of funny. They had these really big plasma bolts, if you guys never played the first version of First Contact, and like they were just massive and looked ridiculous coming out of the plasma rifle, and they actually ended up apparently going back and using those for these, or at least kind of incidentally doing the same thing, which is funny because it works so well for that compared to the plasma rifle. But just kind of a fun thing. Anyways, we got the Dragur from two angles, front and back, so that's really cool seeing that in game. Pretty nasty turrets from what I've seen of them. And then we have one final picture for First Contact here. We get a better angle of the walls in this image, but of course, the big attention grabbers for this picture are the two new Elite models. Now, I am really bad with what the different Elites are in Reach, like what the different like ranks and stuff look like, so I don't know what rank these guys are. They look like the counselors from Halo 2, but I know that these are like a Reach-based thing, so I'm not sure exactly which guys these are, but they look cool. And I'm sure they're only going to end up looking better with time and stuff, so pretty excited to see those guys when they finally come out. Of course, different Elite variety is always welcome, especially with First Contact seeming to make more and more progress. I feel like a lot of units are just kind of chomping at the bits to get into the First Contact stuff. Of course, we do have side mods. Now, I don't have a lot to talk about. I have updated further the mod listing stuff. There's new missions on there. Beyond that, there is some new kind of graphical stuff, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And it's been organized by alphabet, so should be a little bit easier to look through for the most part. Anyways, let's get into side mods. So first up, we have Drake Dare. Now, just barely missed this one last week. It came out like literally as I was getting ready to render my video. So I decided not to re-record the audio since I already added on a clip to the end of it last time. We have, was it CPD? It's the NMPD is what these guys are based off of. I couldn't remember. Anyways, you have like new Mombasa Police Department textures that Drake is, or not Drake, oh my gosh, Burgess. Apologies, Burgess and Drake. That Burgess is working on for OpCan. Now, these guys are really cool. They do have a lot of retextured stuff from what looks like the base game, or maybe some models that Burgess is using for like the OpCan Innies. I don't 100% recognize that vest, but it looks like it could be default. I don't think it is. I'm not positive. The uniforms under him are definitely default, but the vest I'm not sure of. Anyways, what we do have is custom helmets, the Riot helmets. Now, he had a previous version of these customized Riot helmets in OpCan 2.0. These ones kind of got more of that Spartan thing going, where they've got, or like the Roman thing, where they've got kind of the mutton chop armor on the side there coming down, along with the classic orange visor that the NMPD uses. Really awesome looking guys, very sci-fi looking. You know, I would like, of course, to see the Halo 3 version of that, so maybe we'll get a retexture of that too. I'm hoping again, because we'd had that in the previous version. He is going to be working on a custom hat for the officers or the other guys too, so, you know, your patrol officers will have custom hats. We don't have those in the images yet. Let's see here. We do have more stuff from Burgess. I gotta find it. Like I said, all my screenshots are mixed up. I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. We've got more side-by-sides of vehicles, so standard op tray compared to OpCan, so it's basically Marines versus Army, so, you know, Marines standard op tray on the right, OpCan on the left. So basically, the biggest differences for, like, the woodland stuff that he's comparing is that most of his woodland stuff is a lighter green. Beyond that, nothing else really different as far as I can see on most of the textures. Maybe a little bit of wording there, something that's different here or there, but that's about it. We do have that as far as like the Warthog, the Pelican, and the Hornet was just shared actually right before I got ready to do this video. So pretty neat stuff there. He also showed off a little bit more work, not too much, on the Halo Wars base turrets. So these will be good complement to the Dragur turret, I suspect. These ones are still in the modeling program. It looks like he's just getting started on textures here, but they've got a fair bit of work to go for the texturing. I'm not sure if that's... Well, I mean, that looks like substance painter, so that's probably texture, but I'm not positive. Anyways, I do believe that's everything. Let me just double check my pictures here, and yeah, it looks like that's everything, guys. So, let me know, of course, like always, guys, what is the thing you're most excited for in the news we shared this week? And, of course, as always, what are you most excited for that's either been announced or, you know, further out for OpTrade that we didn't talk about this week? All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Take it easy.